faithful to the Bay. That's right. If you're faithful to the Bay, you ought to be celebrating. What a gut-punching, crazy game in the NFL this week. Week 3, San Francisco 49ers found a way to get the victory. They secured the victory. Whether they stuck to my 3 keys, at some point I threw them keys out the window. I just needed them to find a way to win. 16-15. The 49ers defeated their division rivals, the Arizona Cardinals. And man, there's so many things to talk about. Good, bad, ugly. We'll break that down on tomorrow's episode. But geez, what a game. What a finish, right? What a finish. Statistically, this game was kind of terrible. It was just weird. It was a weird game to watch. I really felt like the Niners were in full control for the majority of the game. But man, just the way stuff was just unfolding and unleashing for the Niners. It didn't look good down the stretch, but there's a guy. His name is Mac McCorkle Jones, who had 3 career come from behind wins and 50+ starts. He's only won 3 times coming from behind. Only 3 times. And he was able to drive his team down the football field to set up a 30+ yard field goal for their new kicker, Eddie Donadio Piñeiro. Like, it was man, do you know how good it feels to have a kicker kick the ball right down the middle? I don't know if we still get nervous or what, but to see the ball go right down the middle. Shout out to everybody in the live chat right now. If you're a 49er fan, you ought to be celebrating touchdowns for you. Peachy C48 says, let's go. We 3-0, baby. You already know. Eddie Money. Let's go. Eddie Donadio, Piñeiro, whatever. Eddie Money. Rick the Ruler is her player of the game. Jack Knox says, let's go, baby. Like I said, 3-0. And this is a cool comment right here. It ain't about how you start. It's how you finish. That's a true statement. That's a true statement. 1,000%. It's just crazy. All right, were you impressed with Mac Jones? Were you impressed? And vote, man. 100% yes. Right now he says, he got the job done. He got the job done. So far, no one has said not really. Now, I will say this, if you say not really, man, you cold. If you say, man, he got the job done, I totally dig it. You know what I'm saying? But damn, that last drive would have at least put me in the middle on the voting, right? At least. Mac Jones, 27 for 41. I told y'all in my keys to victory, y'all got to watch these videos. I said, don't be surprised if Mac Jones has to throw the ball 40+ times. Guess how many times he threw the damn ball? 41 times. 41. That Arizona Cardinals defense forced Mac Jones to throw the ball, man. They were stingy against the run. They were literally stingy against the run. Mac Jones. So like if you're like, he was all right, you know what I'm saying? Like he was. He didn't look great, but he looked good enough to play and to, you know what I'm saying? He looked good enough to go out there and compete. Which he did, especially in a team that didn't allow you to run the ball. Now, we'll talk about his biggest mistake, that big turnover. The Niners had a chance to kind of like seal the deal. It was still tied up game. Then he throws an interception. Then there's the safety in the end zone because of the holding call. Mac did everything. It wasn't on Mac. Mac did everything in his ability to get that ball back to the line of scrimmage, but because the safety happened in the end zone, right? Because the safety happened in the end zone, because the holding happened in the end zone. I meant to say the penalty, because the holding happened in the end zone on Dominic Purdy. it resulted in a safety, which put the Arizona Cardinals up by 2 in the fourth quarter. It's just the way it is, Hot Mike user says the refs were terrible. I don't know if the refs were terrible, man. It was a pretty even kill call game to me. Both teams have 5 penalties, which makes sense. And both teams technically they have the 6 penalties, but you had the first set of penalties offset each other, right? So I don't know if I don't know if I would say that the refs were terrible, but I will say there was a couple of calls in this game that literally shifted the atmosphere, and the Niners really had dug themselves a hole. Right, they really dug themselves a hole. And I give you one on the defensive side. That 33-yard PI call on Renardo Green in the end zone. They're picking on him. This is not the first go round with these penalties and these pass interference calls. They're literally attacking him. Renardo Green is a good cornerback, like press man, press up. He likes the bigger body wide receivers. He uses his strength and size to kind of jam these guys. When he has to play off, man, it's going to be a struggle. Now, he reminds me, he's a better version of Ambry Thomas, right? I don't think Renardo gets beat so much on double moves. He just is a little bit more handsy. When we had Ambry Thomas, he was getting beat on double moves every single time, but when they played the style of defense that he was used to, press man, he was a better cornerback. So he just got to get used to being in this system and doing the assignments that they're asking him to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crucial. It's crucial out there. But overall, I thought the defense definitely closed out this game and played the game well. I thought the defense closed out the game and played the game well. Again, back to Mac, a touchdown for him, 284 yards. So he threw for more yards than he's thrown in his first start, right? So he surpassed himself by 7 yards, of 7 or 6 yards or something like that. I think he had 279. Brock, I think, threw for 277. So Mac was out there dealing 6.9 YPA. But the interception was crucial. It came at the worst time, like the worst time. And I don't even know why he was forcing the ball into his hot hand. Ricky Pearsall, you got to talk a little bit about Slick Rick or Rick the Ruler or whatever your nickname is for Ricky Pearsall. You got to talk about how dynamic he was out there as an offensive weapon. No Jawan Jennings in this game, so Ricky Pearsall had to step up to be the X. I mean, he finished this game with 11 targets, 8 receptions for 117 yards. The cat was out there balling, and unfortunately, no touchdowns for him. But Ricky Pearsall was the guy that helped that last drive really stand for the Niners to do what they needed to do, like Ricky Pearsall. So get used to seeing more Rick. I'm not sure how much more injured Jawan Jennings is going to be moving forward, but it's good to have a bright spot with Slick the Rick Ruler out there on the football field. And we need to kind of talk a little bit about Christian McCaffrey. I don't think it should be much of a discussion. I still think he's the best 49ers offensive player out on the football field. I mean, this cat is being used in every way. I mean, he led the team in targets, 15 targets, 10 receptions. This cat was out there, 88 yards. He finished with 88 yards. Couldn't get into the end zone this week. But as a receiver, that's what the defense was forcing Mac Jones to do. Mac Jones couldn't get comfortable at any given moment. Couldn't get comfortable. Dave says, I'm going to read some of these comments in the comment section, and then we'll get to this poll question. Make sure you get your votes in on the poll. Is CMC the best player on offense? Is Christian McCaffrey the best player on offense? Some might argue and say that it's Ricky Pearsall, but I got the argument for you, man. Without Christian McCaffrey, you don't get to develop those plays to Ricky Pearsall down the football field. McCaffrey was out of bounds. He had a drop in this game. It pissed me off. Mac Jones had a PBU, a pass deflected. That pissed me off because that halfback angle route is one of my favorite routes. It was ran to perfection, and Mac delayed the throws a slight bit of a second. He needed to, and plus he threw it as a dart. He needed to float that ball over that defensive line. Man, if Christian McCaffrey catches that, we're talking great amount of yards for Christian McCaffrey and that big last explosive play. The last explosive play for 20+ yards, Christian McCaffrey caught the route, caught the pass, and got them down into field goal range. You know what I'm saying? So Christian McCaffrey, to me, is the best 49ers offensive player that they have on that football field. And I can't wait till he gets some help back, right? Just think about the Niners. Like, we're going to talk about the Niners offense probably for the majority of the season because it's the hardest thing to figure out. There's too many intricate pieces that are moving around. Injuries cause the offense to be stagnant. Kyle Juszczyk, thank God for Kyle Juszczyk. I mean, right? I mean, he goes last week, he gets injured with the concussion. He doesn't practice all week long, has a blue non-contact football practice jersey on one day, comes back, clears the concussion protocol the next day. He's out there, and then he catches a touchdown pass, 49ers touchdown pass, the only touchdown pass went to Kyle Juszczyk. The only one. The only touchdown pass went to Kyle Juszczyk. Let that set in. Let that set in. The only touchdown pass went to Kyle Juszczyk. The Niners, in my opinion, their offense is going to continue to struggle in that red zone. And I don't know what the solution is. They got to the red zone and they couldn't get in. They had to go for it on fourth down and they still couldn't get it. I don't know why the Niners, I don't know why they're struggling. All right, now we got to talk about the defense. Hot Mike usually says the O-line is awful, makes everything harder. Let's talk about the offensive line before we get into the defense. Like, how awful would you rate the 49ers offensive line? Because, I mean, we're talking about, did they give up pressures? Yes. Did they give up pressures? Yes. But they only gave up one sack. The penalty was crucial. There was a few holding calls on the offensive line for sure. But as far as allowing them to take Brock down for some negative, take Mac down for some negative yards, it was one time. It was only one sack. I think they struggle in the freaking offensive blocking scheme. Like, they just can't get right. And the Niners this lets me, okay, here's my theory. And you could disagree. And shout out to the 176 people out there watching this joint. Here's my theory, though. The 49ers offensive line, we already know, isn't built as the best or as one of the best offensive lines of all. We know that. Like, we know that they don't favor the O-line. They grab pieces that fits the system that they're trying to run. Now, I think the reason why the offensive line looks or appears to be as bad as it is because those other pieces that makes this offense tick and flow, they're not playing. There's no Brandon Ayuk. There's no George Kittle. There's no Juwan Jennings now. When those pieces aren't playing, all three of those players that I mentioned are like grade A blockers in the run game. You want to know why there's no big explosive runs to the outside? It's not because Trent Williams or Colt McKivitz or Dominic Pooney or Jake Brando, he had a bad holding call in this game too, or whoever's playing left guard. Connor Colby, congratulations on your first start, but you had a big penalty in this game too. It's because those other pieces are missing. You need your wide receivers blocking down the football field. You need that tight end out there. Yeah, man, I love Tonjes. I love Farrell. But I love George Kittle. And he's not playing. He's on IR. What do you want? What do you want? So offensively, the offensive line, I think, gets a bad rep because the other pieces, the other components of the offense that helps the run game work are missing. They're missing. All right, we got to talk about Nick Bosa because Nick Bosa was injured in this game, and he did not return. So he went out. He had a knee injury, and he went into the locker room. I mean, you got all kinds of stuff or all kinds of reports going down. And, Nick Bosa is not on crutches. He is wearing some type of a fabric sleeve on his knee. So that's a good sign. So that's a positive. But they got to do the testing. And so Kyle Shanahan, I think the team doctors are saying that it's not an ACL injury. Thank goodness. But we won't further know until we do the testing. It looked like something happened. He gave the thumbs down. He was in that locker room with his parents. Things just, that if it's not an ACL, that's great. But whatever it is, it's probably going to have Nick Bosa sidelined for a while. It's probably going to have him sidelined for a while. So how great will this 49ers defense be without the great Nick Bosa? And they got Jacksonville coming in. They play it really well today. Didn't they get the win? Right? Over Houston. They play well. They look good. That was a low scoring, kind of like this game right here. Then you got to travel to Los Angeles and take on the Rams on Thursday Night Football in a division battle. And so, you're just like, dang, what will the Niners do? They're probably going to have to, in my opinion, they're going to have to look for another edge rusher that they could bring in, depending on how severe these, the results come back for Nick Bosa, because you don't want Yetur Gross-Matos out there, Sam Okwanu out there, Bryce Huff out there. Bryce Huff had a hell of a game. But you don't want those guys out there for the majority of all those snaps. I think what made Salah's defense flow great was the rotation of those guys. I can't wait to see what the pressure rate was from Yetur Gross-Matos this week, because he had to play more snaps, and he's limited because he's dealing with the injury. So the Niners, if Nick Bosa's out, this could be a huge blow. How will the defense be without Nick Bosa? They're not going to be better. And if you say they're going to be the same, right now, 80% of the votes are saying that it's going to be worse. I will say this. The Niners defense found a way to keep Kyler Murray contained as much as they could, right? They found a way to keep him contained as much as they could. They only gave up one touchdown. So let's keep it a buck. Bosa didn't play much. He played the first series, and then boom, he was out, right? But they only gave up one touchdown without Bosa. Now, clearly they're not going to be the same. Clearly they're going to be worse, but how much worse? For me, it's they might be slightly worse, because now other guys are going to be able to practice at the one, as that main guy. Mykel Williams. I think Mykel Williams, so he came in the second half. We also left the game with a wrist injury or something. I think CJ West too. But Mykel Williams, I think, will be your outside starting defensive end. And so I think my question is, who's going to line up opposite him? Are you going to go with Bryce Huff? And it's going to change the game. It's going to change the game. I can tell you what, though, teams are going to be prepared for it, and the Niners are going to have to figure out a way. Because we need the defense to continue to play this brass of football. They gave up 15 points, so minus 2 points. They gave up 13 points. That is dang good against a divisional rival that was also 2-0. That was fighting for first place in this division. The Niners sit at the top of the division at 3-0. The Rams lost today. The Seahawks won, but the Niners beat the Seahawks. But the Niners are undefeated. That is something that we need to be hanging our hat on. So I'm sad about the Nick Bosa situation, because, man, he was really turning up to have a tremendous, monstrous season, not from a sack perspective, just from a pressure rate perspective. And they were, and because him being on the football field, Mykel Williams was going to be able to tee off. I'm telling you, it was going to look a little different. I'm telling you. Top of the conference, Phoenix Effect. Top of the freaking conference, Jax. Let's go. Pay bound. I like this comment. Our defense is legit. If we can avoid the injury bug, Mac is a great backup, but I miss Purdy. Pearsall is making strides right now. Mykel Williams is a stud. Niners. Yeah, baby. Niners. Let's talk about Mykel, who did look good. Mykel looked really good. If I'm yelling at you, my bad. I'm just excited because I watched my team come back under 2 minutes, minute 46 to be exact, and win this game. And we got to show some damn love to Eddie Piñeiro. Whoa! Where's my guy? Eddie. Man. Pressure kick. Talk about a pressure kick. Talk about a pressure kick. Look, defensively, man, like there's not a player in the NFL better or greater, and those are synonyms at this point, than Fred Warner. I'm gonna give Fred Warner a round of applause. I got somebody. I dare somebody to tell me there's a player greater than Fred Warner. I double dog Christmas story, stick my tongue on a pole, freeze dare. You can't find me a player greater than Fred Warner. We talking about a man that enforces his will against other teams. Fred Warner's will is so enforceable that he forced an incomplete pass on a wide open wide receiver named Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I don't know why Fred Warner is in coverage on Marvin Harrison Jr. Listen, I believe Fred can cover anybody, but that's different. And I would keep it a buck. Fred was lost. He was trailing. And MHJ had him beat. But man, the breath of the predator, or I don't mean to say predator, I'm my bad, because I don't want to offend anybody. But when I say that word, I'm thinking of the movie character, the Predator. So my bad. Clip that out. Freddy Wooger. I like that better. No, that's not a good example neither. That's not a good example. I forgot about Fred. I forgot about his story. Anyway, the monster of Fred Warner, right? He's just a monster. Let's call him monster. He was breathing down that kid's neck because that cat dropped a wide open touchdown pass. Wide open touchdown pass. There's no player in this NFL greater or better than Fred Warner right now. No player. No player better than Fred Warner. 11 sacks, 5 of them solos, 2 pass deflections. This dude is all over the football field, man. Nightmare. What's a famous street in San Francisco? What's a famous street in San Francisco? I know Lombard Loop. What's a famous street though? Market Street. Nightmare on Market Street. I don't know. I'm not from San Francisco. I just fell in love with the team in the 80s, and I've been here ever since. But I thought Fred Warner definitely showed that he was the best player on the football field. D. Winters had a phenomenal game. His defense is crazy. Upton Stout, probably with the biggest PBU of his career. We talk about a rookie now. Now we talk about a rookie. Upton Stout, biggest PBU of his career, because that was a catch. But you know what they teach these DBs? Fight for the ball all the way through the ground. Let the ground be that extra help defensively. And if a player doesn't come down with the pass and complete it down to the ground, it's not a catch. It's incomplete. Upton Stout, biggest play of his career. Michael Williams, a tackle for a loss. Deommodore Lenoir, tackle for a loss. Jordan Elliott, tackle for a loss. That's what you want to see. Bryce Huff got the sack. This was pretty much all without our guy Nick Bosa on the football field. So I'm saying, how would the defense be without Nick Bosa? If people feel like it's going to be the same, I support that. I support it. Now, I know this was a game where they made in-game adjustments and things like that, but I support it. Nightmare on Market Street, baby. I got a street right. Give me my credit, dang nabbit. Give me it. All right, let's read a couple of these comments. We are so not supposed to be 3-0, but I'll take it. I'm all for, negativity, because I understand a lot of the reality. Again, I'm going to tell you 2 plays. They dropped 2 touchdown passes. Their running back dropped a touchdown pass. He was wide open. And Marvin Harrison Jr. dropped a touchdown pass. He was wide open. And if you go back to the Saints game, Juwan Johnson dropped a touchdown pass. He was wide open. Listen, sometimes you just need luck on your side. What's wrong with having a little bit of luck? Everybody at some point experiences luck. Everybody. Me, you, your mama and your cousin too. Hey, rolling down strip on Vogue's coming up, slamming Cadillac doors. I had a little AT Aliens little thing, but no, you're right. Like, I get it, but man, this to me is just showing how resilient this team can be and how they just didn't fluster. They didn't fluster. You know, we all in our private groups, chats, and talking about, man, we suck and dang, how can we put ourselves in this predicament? But these are the moments that the Niners need to find a way to claw themselves out. You know what I'm saying? Jax, these are gritty games and we win it. So I'll take it. Right? Because not every game is going to end up gritty like this. And I think, I work out in the gym. So on my hands, this calluses. I just feel like the Niners, these type of games, are building those types of calluses. And you got to go back and to the beginning of the show when I sat here and said, look, there's no George Kittle, there's no Brandon Ayuk, and now there's no Jawan Jennings, and there's no Brock Purdy. How could I forget about no Brock Purdy? And yes, I miss Brock Purdy. You're missing 4 starters. 3 of them paid. One of them got a pay raise for some, little bump. So 4 key contributors to your team's offense, and then we get mad because the offense don't flow right. Like, it doesn't make any sense. We got to take everything we get with a grain of salt. It's just like this Niners offense has not been a complete offense. You got to go back to the 2023 year. It's when they just seemed complete. Before B.A. got paid, Christian McCaffrey was running all over the NFL, and that was it. It cost us 2024. Christian McCaffrey does the Madden cover, and boom. B.A., boom. And so the Niners offense we never really get to see what it's supposed to be. Debo's not here anymore. Everybody's happy for that. He's turning up in Washington, though. I just want people to, a little quick reminder. But we're finding ways to win without or through all of that adversity. And I think that's my whole point. The Niners, they dug deep. They searched for their souls. And I'm sorry, to have a quarterback like Mac Jones, who struggled to me in this game. He didn't look super great, but he played well enough for his team to win. To find him, to see him dig into himself, to say, hey, I could come out here and complete these passes. Oh, can we talk about Mac Jones being injured and playing on a brace? You dig what I'm saying? I think Mac Jones is going to be going to be hurt for the next few weeks, and Brock Purdy will be back, and it'll be what it is. But at the end of the day, like, the cat is a warrior. He is a warrior, and he led his team to victory. Let's close out with some Eddie De Niro. What a find by the San Francisco 49ers. You got to chalk it up to special teams coach Brant Boyer. Guy that he was familiar with. You brought him in here. And the way it started was the missed extra point, and he hasn't missed since. And we can knock on wood, you can knock on this, you can knock on that. But I think the Niners can find themselves winning a lot of these gritty games if Eddie Pinedo is their kicker. I mean, his longest was 55, I believe. He kicked one today. So he's definitely got the he doesn't have the non-confidence factor, right? And my favorite part was the celebration, right? Like whew, like, yeah, like, I was like, yeah, you did it, man, you did that. And I was just super excited. So the Niners are finding themselves trending in the right direction. power rankings should be a little bit higher because they beat an undefeated team. It's different when you don't beat an undefeated team. But when you defeat an undefeated team, I think your power rankings are going to go up. So I could see the Niners bumping up in the power rankings. And they're going to look, we all got to just play the course. We're going to get players to return. Demarcus Robinson will be back this week. We'll be talking about him this week on some of the shows. So they get some reinforcements there. And that's great because Ricky, DeMarcus, maybe Juwan Jennings will be headed in the right direction as far as his health. So at least the Niners will have those three wideouts. MVS had a huge block and a catch in this game. Sky Moore catching this game. Kendrick Bourne helped save the Niners catches in this game. Like the Niners are serviceable at the wide receiving position. They got to figure out their run game because teams are setting up to take away the run. And I'm going to be honest. Jacksonville's next. Their run defense is ridiculous. The Rams run defense, ridiculous. But the Rams, okay. I don't really like talk about other teams here, but since we're playing the Rams in a couple of weeks, give me a second because I'm curious to see how many yards Saquon Barkley had today on the ground, Saquon Barkley, 18 carries, 46 yards. They got a good run defense. So we got a couple of good run defense. Their defense is back to back, and then Tampa after that, if I'm not mistaken. So, or Tampa before that, I can't remember the order of the games, but dang, like it's just run defense, run defense, run defense. So the Niners got to be a little bit more creative with their passing game. And Brock coming back or whenever he comes back, the Niners are going to have to continue to find ways to win games by throwing the freaking ball. Like that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to find ways by throwing the ball. Bleacher Report says Madden curse confirmed. Yo, Barkley didn't have a good game, but he's healthy, right? Like he didn't get injured or anything like that. So look, great game, great come from behind win. Football this week, week 3, if you get a chance, just go back and just recap everything. Every game in the NFL damn near came down to the wire. It was like watching the best week of football. Like no game. There was a couple of blowouts, right? But man, the majority of the games this week were nail biting. 49ers up on top of the NFC West where they belong and where they need to figure out how to remain. I'm your boy Breezie. This is 49ers Daily Bleacher Report. Thanks for rocking with me during these live game reactions, man. I appreciate it. I'll be back next Sunday for sure as we take on, I believe, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Row, row, like a dungeon dragon. I'm out this joint. Keep it faithful to the Bay. Peace. What's up, faithful? Thanks for watching. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure you check out some of the other cool videos.